What is your favorite smell?
Citrus.
Citrus. Okay. I like that.
But I don't like eating oranges.
I was about
I
to
don't
say,
know.
but wait a second, Joseph.
I don't like eating oranges. I can't stand the smell.
We catch
I don't like.
Joseph with oranges, we know you're just smelling them. That's it.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. From 1Route, I'm Jeffrey Ross, and you're watching the 1Route Roundup, the show that spotlights individuals making a positive difference in the telecom industry. Today, we have a special treat, and we're joined by the incredible Joseph Nderitu. Joseph is a revenue assurance and fraud management guru, having previously worked as head of revenue assurance and fraud management at Vodacom Tanzania and Vodacom Mozambique, internal audit manager for Airtel, responsible for their multiple opcos across Africa, and the revenue assurance manager at Safaricom Kenya. He holds a master's degree in information systems, is a steering committee member for the risk and assurance group. He is a highly sought after consultant and is widely known for his insightful articles on commsrisk.com. It is very clear that Joseph knows revenue assurance, fraud management, and the changes our industry has faced over the years. Rumor also has it that Joseph has been known to fly some airplanes, ride some mountain bikes, and do some farming as well. So, Joseph, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you, Jeff. I'm happy to be here. How are you doing?
I'm good. How is the farming going this year?
It's going well. It's back-breaking work. Sometimes I don't look forward to it, but finally end up enjoying it.
Listen, you want to know how this is how I find out how weak I really am is if I go back to a farm and start working again. It's like I lost a lot of strength over the years. Here in Texas, it's always been cotton, and it never fails. The farmers will always say, we need rain, we need rain. And with cotton, there needs to be a certain dry season. And that's when farmers say, we don't need rain, we don't need rain. And typically it always comes when you don't need it. But
yeah, that's true. I mean, the farming challenges, they're like that. In Kenya, we say the farmer eats last, which means if you grow something, you sell it. The traders make their money, the supermarkets make their money, the transporters make their money. What remains is for the farmer.
That's right. Joseph, one thing I always like to do at the beginning of each of these shows is question number one: where in the world are you today?
I'm in Nelspruit, which is a town in the north part of South Africa in Mpumalanga province.
Perfect. Well, Joseph, we always love to also hear about each of our guests' journey and how they got to where they are today. Would you mind telling our audience what is it or how is it that you ended up getting into the telecom industry?
I don't know if
I know you've got some years, so in a nutshell, we'll say it that way.
So I joined revenue assurance, or I joined telecoms and went straight to revenue assurance. At the time, I had no clue what revenue assurance was. I came from my first job after university working with British American Tobacco, and I got tired of selling cigarettes. So I saw Safaricom back in Kenya, 2006. They advertised for a job, and they were calling it product assurance analyst. And I saw in the job description they were saying that job would be doing risk assessments on new products before launch. And I was quite enthralled by that because I thought I'm going to be the guy who knows everything that is coming onto the Kenyan market before everyone else.
Yeah.
So I did. That's how I ended up making an application, and I went to Safaricom, started as a product assurance analyst, and worked my way up to revenue assurance manager. Then I had a lot of fun. It wasn't all that is cracked up to be in terms of working for revenue assurance. I was soon, I soon, I was soon to recognize that it's like a front seat of seeing what's going wrong in the company, and it's not just knowing what the new products are. It's a bit you had to really be in the mix of things when they go wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
So that's how I started.
That's a good way. And obviously it led you to bigger and better, not maybe better, like you said, more bigger and more learning about more risk and everything that's out there. What is it that you think is the main issue that telecoms face today, in regards to revenue assurance, fraud management, risk? What is it that you think the main issue that they face today? And second part of the question is, how do you think this compares to 20 years ago?
Let me answer the second part of the question first.
Oh, yeah. Well, it
Uh,
works for me.
because I think some of the challenges we are facing, even up to today, are things that we were facing 20 years ago. And those are the reasons that we still need people to work in revenue assurance. And the principal problem is really the fact that you have different teams not talking to each other. And we may talk about, how we have digital communications, how we have collaboration tools and all that. But behind, I would say behind 9 out of 10 problems encountered by revenue insurance, you can always pinpoint that there's somebody who should have talked to somebody a bit earlier, or somebody who should have informed somebody to do something a bit earlier, or somebody who supposed to have done something and did do it, even though they were informed to do it. So that then says that the first part of the problem is, I think we are telecommunications companies and all, but our communication is still very poor within companies. So that silo mindset, which I know it's cliche to say, revenue assurance came on because or to fight the silo mindset, it's right there. And I've even seen the silo mindset within revenue assurance teams themselves, where you have a revenue assurance analyst not talking to the guy who sits across him, and they're working on the same problem and they don't know about it.
It feels like through collaboration, we're able to accomplish great things. I mean, all the way back to putting a man on the moon, through collaboration, this is done. But yet we're still, it feels like we're still combating the same fraud types. There's obviously new ones that have come along the ways, but is that maybe more of the issue, that there needs to be more communication, or I don't know.
Yeah, I think communication is of course very important, and I think I mean, let's take an example. If you're launching a new product, what would happen, and I've seen this happen in a lot of companies, is you have the product definition, somebody has thought of it, somebody else has done the business case, somebody is responsible for configuring it on the network, provisioning tools, somebody should test it, somebody should ensure it's billing, somebody should ensure it's being accounted for correctly. Ideally, those people should be talking to each other across the whole chain of the launch of that product. They should. But it's not what happens in practice. What happens in practice is, perhaps because of market pressures, you shortcut the process. You find out that there's a stakeholder who was not informed. As a result, when he's coming on board, things have already gone wrong. And then at worst, then what may happen is then you apportion blame, and at best, maybe you then now do collaboration to fix the mess.
Right.
But if you think about it, and there's a concept I've seen now was being trialed in some company that I was working, where they were saying it's revenue assurance by design. So throughout the design process, are you thinking about what are the revenue assurance controls? But then again, with GDPR, then people are saying, do you have privacy by design? You launch, right? So all this X by design, X by Y by design, and Z by design, we are talking about it, but are we putting it in practice? And I think the fact that we still see these issues happen means I think we are paying lip service to a lot of those concepts. And the guys who sit in revenue assurance and fraud management, they are seeing these things happen. Now, the question then becomes, those of us who work in revenue assurance and fraud departments, are we doing things differently to make sure that then the company is moving to that proactive way of looking at things? Or are we still stuck in, we have deployed some controls to detect when things go wrong or to prevent, or rather mostly it's detect things, but how far upstream of the process are we able to go up? And I think that goes beyond running tools that detect. It's more about making sure are we visible in these processes? Are we talking to people? Are we evangelizing the whole mission of revenue assurance and fraud management? And that's quite tough. Yeah.
I'll put it in the financial terms from my background. It's almost like having a budget is great. Everybody can create a budget, but if you don't implement that budget, and if you don't talk to the people that are also working in that budget, it won't work.
Yes, it remains on paper. It remains on paper. And I've seen even some companies where they have very beautiful processes. I'll say, as part of my consulting, I have worked with several companies where you find, so before you go on site, you ask, do you have a process for this? And invariably, the companies that have the most beautiful documented processes always have this big mess happening. And I always say, how is this even making sense? Because they have not internalized the mindset behind that process, which is you could write all the nice process of provisioning, a nice process for your back office processes and back end controls. But is that what the people are living? Are they living that? Is that what is it in the company's DNA, so to speak? No. And until you build it, then you can write all processes you want, and you can build all types of revenue assurance and fraud management controls, but they'll remain in the detective phase.
That's a great example. What is the most underserved or overlooked area in a telecom provider?
I would say without a doubt, customer service. And I'm not sure if it's a process, it's a problem of the resources that are allocated, but I think telecoms get away with a lot of poor customer service. We make a promise to the customer that he will enjoy this product in this way and it will work for him this way, and it doesn't work. But then nothing happens to the telcos. So of course we do measure things like the net promoter score, your customer satisfaction index and all that. But I think I don't see much of penalties to the telecoms and especially the executive when we're not keeping our promise to the customers. It's almost like the customer is, he's supposed to live with the mistakes we make. If we gave you, a promise that we'll deliver this service at this speed and we don't, what are you supposed to do? Maybe in Africa, we see people having 2 SIMs and 3 SIM cards and all that. But what happens because we didn't give the customer what we promised? I don't know if it's really a question of resourcing. I think it's more of the mindset, because if the rest of the departments don't support the process of giving a product that works, and on top of that, when they don't do that, there's no punishment that comes to anybody in the company, then it's going to keep happening. So, I mean, the punishment is you would say maybe you risk losing market share and all that, but that's really in the extreme cases. There are a lot of customers who are unhappy with the service, but they don't actually move, maybe because on the balance of things, they decide it's too much trouble to move.
Oh, you know what, Joseph? That's a good point. Because I can tell you, I've had the same account now with my provider for, I don't know, 23, 4 years, 25 years, same numbers, same account, same everything. And honestly, it's too much of a hassle to mess with changing things. And but obviously there again, if it was poor service, I would make a move. But you're absolutely right. Sometimes, it almost feel like companies count on customers like myself that we're just too lazy to change. Maybe, I don't know.
I think by the time you decide to move, I mean, something would have to be quite drastic. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you are with the company because you are a very happy customer or because they are keeping their promise to you.
The fun one over here in the States that I always thought was funny, and say, well, I'm looking at a different plan with another telco, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, what if we reduce your cost? It's like, well, wait a second. How long have I been overpaying for this? But we like to try to look at things like, and this also comes from when I worked in the financial industry, but it applies to all industries, really. You can have a customer as a for lack of better words, you look at them as just a transaction, or you can look at it as, do you want a relationship? Do you want to build a relationship with that customer, or are they just a name and a number and they're just a transaction? So
yes,
and I think those are definitely two things that obviously there's going to be those who hop around. They are just the transactional customers that will always leave for the, they can save a cent here or there. But then there's the ones that if you can build a relationship with them that will last for years and years, customer service by all means. I looked at it from the banking standpoint. Back when I worked at a bank, I always felt like customer service representatives were the face of the bank. They were the people that really that spoke with the public more than anybody else, more than the CEO or anybody. And I feel like they have a lot of responsibility that they don't get enough credit for. Be quite honest. That's the
and internal teams are especially notorious for letting them down. So the customer service guy, even sometimes you call, if I have a problem with my SIM card and I call my operator and I say, I need this fixed, and I'm talking to somebody in the call center, and I then will have to call back, and I can feel the pain in the person addressing my issue. But I know they are not the ones who are going to fix that issue. There's probably somebody seated in an IT team somewhere, in a network team somewhere, in a provisioning team somewhere, in a credit control team somewhere, that's sitting on the email. And now this person has to tell me, sorry, I'll call you back. There are steps that have to be carried out to fix this. But probably covering up for somebody who's not doing their job or who's not covering.
I'm going to flip over to the other side of telecoms. Joseph, in your opinion, what is one thing or what is something that you believe telecom companies are doing a good job at today?
I would say marketing, sales, and promotions. I think, and I don't know if that's because we are covering up for things. We paint a good picture, but I have seen, just comparing across the sectors, even, for example, in my home country of Kenya, the best advertisements and I suppose they can afford the best promotions, the best sales and distribution outlets, they belong to telecom companies. And the same case I see here in South Africa in terms of branding, visibility. Of course, I wonder if we are doing a good job at hiding all the mess behind how we do things. But I think, if just on the face of it, I think we do a good job in presenting what's the image. It would be nice if that image was also backed by nice service.
If it aligned. Yeah,
exactly.
No, that
at least there's that the face, the face of the companies, the branding. And now I see we also have customer experience centers where you can go in, test devices and all that. That's all very nice. But if you then made it consistent across the whole customer life cycle, then that would actually be great. We seem to have built the infrastructure and at great cost for marketing our things.
I 100% agree with you, because I know when we first were starting 1Route and going through that process of picking colors and brands and all of that stuff, I remember sending our marketing team different companies like Vodacom, MTN, Safaricom, and because you're 100% right, the marketing, the image, the videos, everything that they have out there, it is done very well.
Yes.
And I remember turning this stuff in and saying, look at the way especially a lot of the African telcos, to be bluntly honest, their marketing is unbelievable. It's fantastic. But I'm with you there. You definitely want to make sure that your support and your product and everything else that comes with it aligns with the picture that you're putting out there. Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's easy to be top of mind through those appealing brands. And also, I have worked in companies where, they were I can't quite remember the marketing term, but it was something like we're calling something 360. And it meant if you stood somewhere in the middle of town and you looked to your left, you should see something that reminds you of the telco company. So you may see an advertisement, or you
Okay.
may hear something, or you may hear something that reminds you of the company. So it might be that there's a radio advert playing or a TV advert playing, or you may also see something moving that reminds you of it. So you may see a
That's
public service vehicle that is also branded. So, I mean, if we invest so much time in being top of mind for the customer, I wish we could also align that what we actually promise so that we can deliver. I'm sure it probably would cost much less in terms of providing that because it's fixing those basics behind the product promise.
what a fantastic way to transition to other questions here. We're going to end on the serious questions now, and that was such a fantastic wrap up there. Now, Joseph, I think you would agree that as we go about business throughout the world today, you meet people at conferences or on Zoom Teams or whatever, video platform these days, but you really don't get to know who someone truly is. But fortunately, our data scientists in the 1Route labs have taken a Colbert questionnaire is what it's called. They've tweaked it a little bit. And so now the 1Route data scientists have come up with 15 questions. And by the end of this, our audience should know who Joseph Nderitu is. So this isn't the first question, but it is a question. Joseph, are you ready?
Yes, I am ready.
All right, Joseph. Question number 1. What is the best sandwich?
Chicken ham.
Chicken ham? Chicken and ham?
Yes.
Okay. Do you like bread, chicken, ham, bread? We're good?
Yes.
Oh, I like it. Keep it simple. All right, Joseph. What is one thing that you own that you should really throw out?
It's an old bike that I've said for the last 7 years that I'll fix it and I haven't fixed it. That's embarrassing.
I'm with you on that. Joseph, you and I are of the same cloth. So I still have my first mountain bike that I ever owned. And it got to the point, fortunately, I was able to replace it. But now it's to the point, it's almost like, it'd be like getting rid of a child. I don't.
Yes, that's it.
I have attachment issues to a bicycle. And I keep thinking, well, maybe someday my kids will ride this bike. I don't know. Joseph, what is the scariest animal?
Definitely snake.
Oh yeah. No, I don't do snakes.
Or rather, I fear reptiles, but snake, of course, tops
No.
it.
Yeah. Joseph, do you prefer apples or oranges?
Apples.
Apples.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. Well, apples is actually the correct answer. Do you know why? Yeah. You know why apples is the right answer?
Because the doctor orders one to take.
That's fair. Because you can because you can eat peanut butter with an apple.
Okay. I haven't tried that.
I guess technically you can eat an orange with peanut butter, but I would not recommend it.
Yeah. I should try an apple with peanut butter. Not tried it, but I know.
So apparently throughout all these episodes, I'm learning that this might be more of an American thing. Maybe not, but it is surprisingly how much apparently we eat a lot of peanut butter, I guess. But yeah, if you get the opportunity, take some just regular peanut butter, slice up a regular red apple and combine them together. You'll be surprised in a good way. This is not a trick. We're not trying to trick
you. After we log out of here, I'm doing that. Okay.
Have you ever asked anybody for their autograph?
Yes. My high school director.
Really?
When I was in high school. I think that's probably but to be fair, I did there used to be this when we were leaving high school, we would make a small book that your colleagues would all sign and all that. So
Yeah. No. We had yearbooks, is what we called them.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So but in my case, it used to be that you took a blank page and you gave everyone a whole something to sign for you, a page to sign for you and write for you the last message and things like that. And then my first page had the high school director, but he was signing for everyone. So I don't know if it counts as an autograph. I don't know. He was signing for everyone.
That's okay. That's
Yeah.
good. Joseph, what is the last book that you read?
Petals of Blood by Ngugi wa Thiong'o. He's a Kenyan writer.
Kenyan writer. Can you say the title one more time?
Petals of Blood.
Petals of Blood. Oh, okay, yeah. Is it fiction, nonfiction?
It's a fiction.
Okay. Hold on.
Yes.
I'm going to write this one down. Or I should ask first, do you recommend reading this?
Yes, I recommend reading it.
Because the last book I read, I wouldn't recommend.
Yeah, it's the third time I'm reading it, so I think. And it's the thing is it's a fiction, yes, but it speaks to a lot of things that are happening in my country right now of Kenya.
Interesting.
And it's mostly about a political class that has become so desensitized about the plight of the masses. So I kind of, every time I read it, I feel like, oh, yeah, this is happening again, even though the book was written back in the 70s.
So say this sounds very familiar to what's happening in our area as well. So
yes, you should read it. You should.
Joseph, what is your favorite action movie?
Men of Honor.
That is. What is your favorite smell?
Citrus.
Citrus. Okay, I like that.
But I don't like eating oranges.
I was about to say, but wait a second, Joseph.
I don't like eating oranges. I can't stand the smell.
We catch Joseph with oranges. We know you're just smelling them. That's it. Yeah. So on the flip side, what is your least favorite smell?
I don't like the smell of fuel. I don't like the smell of petrol, diesel, and stuff. Yeah, I don't like that.
I understand that. Yeah, that's a good point. I haven't heard that one yet, but that's a really good one. Here's an interesting question, as I know you have been active in the past. Exercise, is it really worth it?
You never feel like it's worth it when you're doing it. That's for sure. That's for sure. But yeah, it is worth it. I think yeah, taking care of your body is important. You need it, and especially for those of us who have a family, you want to be around for your children, and you're getting on with the years. I think just in maybe even investing some 90 minutes 3 times a year, 3 times a week, not a year. That's okay.
I'm with the 3 times a year right now, but that's just...
that works. That works.
The white in my beard did not come from exercise. I can tell you that. 100%. I do. I get angry when I exercise. It makes me so mad, but then I do feel better afterwards. So
yes.
I'll start running or riding the bike. Why did I do this to myself?
Yes, I think the worst is especially if you ride, you know how it is. On the outbound leg, you're feeling energetic.
Yeah,
maybe you push the kilometers, you push the miles, and then on the return journey, the wind picks up. You have a headwind and all that, and now you're thinking,
it never fails. It never
I could just have sat in the house.
The last I need to get back on the bike, but I started a 20-mile ride. And I think I was into mile 4. So it was the very beginning, and I had a crash. It was wet trail, front tire goes out, and you just think this is not a good way of starting the ride. But
yes. Yes.
But I agree. It never fails. It's almost one of those, the wind decides, oh, this guy's almost finished with his ride. I'm going to blow right in his face. So Joseph, do you prefer flat or sparkling water?
Flat.
I like it. What is the most used app on your phone?
Twitter. X, rather. Oh, it's
Oh,
Twitter.
yeah, I was about to say, whoa. Hey,
Yeah.
we're all still calling it Twitter. Sorry. I highly doubt Elon Musk is watching this, but or will watch this, but we still call it Twitter.
Yeah, I don't like X, to be honest. But anyway, fine.
I feel like there needs to be more said. Just throwing a
Yeah.
letter out there. X, I don't know.
Yeah,
marks the spot.
I don't even have you seen that X? I don't know. What are we supposed to say about it? Let me X you. I mean, how does that even work?
Joseph, if you get one song to listen to for the rest of your life, what song would that be?
I have too many songs that I would want to listen to. So it has to be one.
Well, yeah. According to the data scientists, apparently you only get one song the rest of your life.
That sounds rather unfair.
Okay, well, we're gonna change it for you, Joseph. We'll change it to one. How about one artist?
One artist would be Bob Marley.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I still listen to Three Little Birds all the time. It's
yes, that's a good. He had good music, and I think he's also timeless. I like I like the type of song that I can say I see this happening in the world right now. That kind of tunes into what I don't like songs that are for a particular age where I would have to explain to my children that in the 70s this was making sense, but now something that can use as a lesson now. Yeah.
That's it. You know what though? You make a really good point. Timeless music is this is how I feel like I'm getting older. Like, music today is not the same. And I'm sure this is what the generation before me said. And
yeah.
My Bob Marley is timeless. There are those certain few artists that you can play anytime, any age. This one's a tough one. What number am I thinking of?
10.
No.
1.
That's close though. You have 5 words, only 5 words.
Yes.
To describe the rest of your life. What would those 5 words be?
Happy, challenging, fulfilling, friendships.
Oh, I like that.
Memories.
Joseph, you have completed the questionnaire and now you are a known man. All that's left to do is roll out the red carpet for you, my friend. Look into the camera and tell the audience what is on the horizon for Joseph Nderitu.
What's on the horizon for me is more challenges, enjoying myself, building lasting memories with my family and friends.
I love it. So well said. Joseph, thank you so much. Thank you for your time today. And just an incredible, insightful way of looking at telecoms and also all the other things like music and just wise words from you. So thank you for your time. To our audience, be sure to find Joseph. Obviously, he likes to be on Twitter, as we all call it, or X for those who want to call it that. So be sure to follow Joseph. Keep in touch with him. Fantastic guy, very smart, very wise, and well worth it. Joseph, thank you for your time today. We appreciate you joining us.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate you, sir. Take care.
Thank you.
Cheers.